Lakeshore, an area where it does not take long to find artistic endeavors taken on by the residents. With pastel parklands worthy of any artist's canvas. And with its artistic architecture, it seems like this is a community which takes stock in its appearance. In this program, we will be going into the community and finding what it has to offer. We will end with an interview with a local artist, and we will begin with the European Art Attack found on 6th Street and Lakeshore. In this building, fine art is hosted for not just people to buy, but for the entire community to walk past and enjoy. But what if you want something to drink while you're looking at art?
Hello, I'm here at the Big Guy's Little Coffee Shop, a hub of local talent. Let's go inside and see what we can find.
So, thanks for joining us here. And I was just wondering if you could give me a little background on how this sort of became, sort of from a coffee shop to what it is now with all the sort of local art and the local talent on display.
Well, I think there's an initiative on the street in this neighborhood to sort of rebrand. What people around here, I think, want to see is Queen Street West come down the Lakeshore. That's what they want. So some of the shop owners have gotten on board. Stephen was one of them. He had the idea, and then I was trying to get into one of the local churches and have a bazaar every Saturday morning. And it didn't work out. And he said, well, why don't you just have it here? We hang it here, and everyone's cards are on display. If you want to approach the artist and do something outside of what we have in the store, that's fine. We don't have an issue with it.
We are now in the house of one of Lakeshore's local artists. On the wall are paintings that have been done by 23-year-old civil engineer Brendan McHale, who will answer questions about his art and his community. Mr. McHale, thanks for being with us. How did you start painting?
I actually started painting when I was in high school because you had to take an art credit. So the course I chose to take was painting, and I found out painting was actually something that I quite enjoyed and provided me with a good creative outlet, so I kept with it.
So where do you find that you get the ideas for your painting?
No one source. It might be I'm walking around and see something interesting. It might be there's a story that I think of and I want to paint something that has to do with that. Or it could be from some very odd sources, like, for instance, this painting back here was actually inspired by some scribbles that I had just mindlessly drawn on a piece of paper when I was sitting in class bored, and then looking at them and like, hey, there's actually a pattern going on here. So I made it into a painting. So this painting here is actually of a concrete plant, and the reason that I decided to paint a concrete plant was simply that I felt like painting an industrial facility that day, and it was one of the ones that I could find a picture of to paint. So in order to start off, what I would generally do is go over in just one color, typically red, and kind of block out where each object is. Then go over the canvas with the different blocks of color, like red for the sky and purple for this wall. Then after that, then I would go in and try and add a bit more detail to things and more kinds of color gradients.
Do you want to tell us about the thickening of those lines, or how you thicken the lines?
Well, I know the answer to that is simply that I go over it with a brush.
So do you like painting things that are abstract, or things more based in reality, or?
I think I tend to paint slightly more to the abstract end of the spectrum. I also enjoy painting certain reality-based things. There's some paintings that are a combination of both, but I think for whatever reason, I just find the actual process of painting something abstract, I enjoy it more. Like, it's more free-flowing, if you will.
What do you think of Lakeshore's art scene?
I think the scene right now, to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't characterize it as being very strong. I think that lots of local residents don't really connect into it, and lots of local artists. I think it's definitely on its way up, and it's developing. So I think in another 5 or 10 years, you'd say that there would be a very strong art scene.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed our look at the Lakeshore art community, an area where residents are passionate to create something beautiful.